Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, January 24th. Ian Cameron with you. Flying solo today, another maintenance day. That's what I'm going to call it for Alex B. Smith, a maintenance day. That's what it is. It's a maintenance day. He's not really, sick, not really that badly injured. It's just, certain parts of the body just won't cooperate certain days. So we call it a maintenance day for our guy Alex B. Smith. So it's just me on the show today, flying solo, and we're on the clock, because I got to be out of here in an hour. It's UFC Saturday. We do the old viewing party thing with a group of longtime friends of mine, always at the same place. Same person, same friend of mine hosts it every time there's a UFC pay-per-view. So, or I don't know, what are they calling it now? It's not UFC pay-per-view. UFC numbered event. Let's be technical. UFC numbered event is what they call it now. As far as what used to be called pay-per-views, but there are no pay-per-views anymore because now it's Paramount Plus, and you can just watch every UFC event as long as you have the Paramount Plus streaming service and a subscription for it. But that's another story. So we're going to be, like I said, going through this card a little quicker than normal, which means we're going to make the recap a little bit, rapid fire with the recap. But I do want to talk about some of the things we saw yesterday in the NHL. Great effort by Chicago on a tough back-to-back spot in the ESPN game. And, just when we're ready to throw Arvid Soderblom in the garbage chute again, he steps up with a, pretty damn good effort, all things considered. Gave up 1 goal on 31 shots in regulation and overtime, and actually held his own in a shootout. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay eventually gets the shootout winner in that game, 2-1 over the Chicago Blackhawks. And this team just keeps on rolling, finds a way to win. I think, what is it now, 15 straight games for the Tampa Bay Lightning with a point, without losing in regulation time. So, like I said, it's been a very, very impressive run for the Lightning, and we will see if they can keep it rolling, because they're playing again here on this Saturday back-to-back in Columbus against the Jackets, who have just lost that one game since Rick Bowness took over. So, very interesting game there. And by the way, Rick Bowness was on John Cooper's coaching staff a long time ago as an assistant with Tampa Bay. So that'll be an interesting matchup. The Mitch Marner return to Toronto. I was worried it was overhyped, and it proved it was overhyped. That was no bubbling cauldron of hate and venom in Toronto last night. Yeah, the boos were pretty, every time he touched the puck, you could hear some loud boos and all that. But it wasn't this like crazy, just there weren't any loud, weren't any chants during the game of derisiveness directed toward Mitch Marner. I thought it was all tame, all things considered. And you give them credit, actually. The one thing we'll say about the Leaf fans is the fact that, they stood up and gave a standing ovation for Mitch Marner when they did the video tribute. Of course, they showed not just his highlights and some of his great moments with the Leafs, and they also showed some of the stuff he did in the community when he was a member of the Leafs. So let's give the Leafs fans credit, even the ones that booed. It was probably a situation where, they probably decided, let's show a little grace. Let's show a little humility here. And it was a nice gesture for them to at least give him a nice ovation during the video tribute. Then you can go back to booing him. But it was Mitch Marner and his Vegas Golden Knights who got the last laugh. 6-3 victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Even though Marner didn't have a point. Can you believe it? 6 goals for Vegas, and he didn't factor into any of them, Mitch Marner. But I think he's more than happy with getting the 2 points and the win, and Vegas was able to do that with the 6-3 win. And this, this angle that I've talked about yesterday, with overs involving these goalies coming off a long extended absence due to injury, it's a real thing. We've seen now Aiden Hill for Vegas last week. We saw Mackenzie Blackwood also for Colorado last week. Hell, he's still not back on track, and we'll get to what he was like last night. Now, last night, Anthony Stolarz for Toronto. All three of those guys, first game after a long absence due to injury, and they got lit up, all three of them. So you look at this angle now, it's something to keep an eye on, that you got to look at the other team, maybe their team total over, and maybe some combination of the over by Fecta in these games. And obviously, if you had the over by Fecta last night, it was easy as it gets. But you could tell Anthony Stolarz, that second goal he gave up, what a horrible rebound. Just spit the puck right back out in front of the net. Couldn't corral the second shot, and then the third one goes in from Kolasar. I mean, that just tells you all you need to know. He was definitely not sharp last night, Anthony Stolarz. I did think as the game went on, he settled in a little bit, but you could tell he was not at his absolute best, and Vegas took advantage, 6-3 win over Toronto. That's now 0-3 on this homestand for Toronto, a very important homestand, and they've yet to get a win. And they only have 1 point in this homestand, which was the overtime loss against Detroit. They lost to Minnesota, lost to Detroit, lost to Vegas, and now it's not going to get any easier because Colorado is next up as far as the homestand is concerned on Sunday afternoon, assuming the storm doesn't wipe out the game, because there's heavy snow in the Toronto, Hamilton, Southern Ontario area coming in, and you wonder if that game's in jeopardy tomorrow. But nevertheless, I definitely think it's going to be I think they're going to play it, but just be careful. There's a chance that game's in jeopardy tomorrow with Colorado and Toronto. Dallas, 3-2 win against St. Louis. How about winning in the final minute? That's right, final minute. Jason Robertson gets the victory for the Dallas Stars with a minute left, the game-winning goal. 3-2 win for the Dallas Stars, much needed. And St. Louis just can't win on the road. That's now 8 straight losses away from home for the St. Louis Blues. And then we have Philadelphia. I mentioned it. Mackenzie Blackwood struggled in his return against Nashville, struggled again last night. 6 goals on just 19 shots. Not good for Mackenzie Blackwood. And Philly rolls into Denver and just thumps the Colorado Avalanche 7-3 in that game. It was just absolutely outstanding win for the Flyers. Owen Tippett gets a hat trick in Colorado. Mishkov gets a couple of goals. And how about, we talked about this yesterday with Denver Barkey. We said, do we just bet Denver Barkey to score because his name's Denver and he's playing in Denver? And wouldn't you fucking know it? He does score last night. I sure hope somebody bet it. I think Robert Carlson in the chat bet that, and maybe a couple other people did. Just absolutely crazy. Denver in Denver. Unreal. It actually happened. And Denver Barkey scores against the Colorado Avalanche in Denver. So that's pretty crazy that it actually. I'm going to have to remember that. Every time Philly plays in Colorado, bet Denver Barkey to score. Watch this become a trend now after what we saw last night. But great win for Philly. Obviously not good. Don't look now. Colorado looks human. Colorado looks Colorado's is not immortal. They're beatable. They're looking average right now. You know, there's cracks in the armor starting to show up here for the Colorado Avalanche. And Mackenzie Blackwood is one of them. You know, 2 starts for him since coming back, and they've been rough. He has not looked sharp. He has not looked confident. He's been fighting the puck. Blackwood shitting in the dead of night. Yeah, it's looking like it is. It's looking like his struggles are back a little bit. Now, he had been playing well overall with Colorado. He's been good, but last few games, not so much since he's been back. We'll see if he can, and maybe it's going to lead to more Wedgwood starts if the Blackwood struggles continue here for the Avs. Washington, we liked them in that spot last night, 3-1. They beat Calgary. Calgary's just a fade now at every reasonable price and every reasonable opportunity. They can't put the puck in the net. They got 1 goal on a power play in the first period from Morgan Frost, and that was all she wrote. Capitals shut them out the rest of the way. They get a 3-1 victory over the Calgary Flames last night. Much needed for the Capitals because they had lost 4 in a row. And knowing they're playing Edmonton, and Edmonton's going to be kind of pissed off, you would think, after getting bombed by Pittsburgh at home in their last game. So it was very important for the Capitals to get the win there. They were able to do that against Calgary last night. Anaheim, 4-2 win against Seattle. Big game this was in the standings. Seattle was only a couple points behind Anaheim, and I said it on Twitter. I'll reiterate it. This is why I don't buy into Seattle. This is a huge game. Anaheim's right in front of you. You're just barely clinging to a wild card spot, tied with a couple other teams. It's a big game. Anaheim's right in front of you in the standings, and you come out and you play one of the most utter horseshit first periods I've ever seen on home ice in a game of that magnitude and you get outshot 12-3 and you're down 2-0 after the first period. I mean, that's why it's hard to take the Kraken seriously. How do you start a game like that with such an importance on that game and knowing who you're playing, that they're directly in front of you in the standings? It was a terrible start for Seattle. Now, to their credit, they were better in the last two periods, but you can't start the game like that, and expect to be on the winning side of it more often. It's just not going to happen, especially an Anaheim team playing well. But the Ducks win again, 4-2, 6 straight wins now for Anaheim. Another real solid outing in net from Lukáš Dostal, coming off the gem he had in Colorado the other night. So, like I said, that's bad coaching too. Lane Lambert's got to own that. He's got to eat some of that, not having his team ready to go. That was a horrible first period in a big spot like this. Terrible from Seattle. Couldn't recover. And Anaheim gets the 4-2 win there over the Seattle Kraken in that game. This one is, I was already counting my money with the over in the first period of Rangers and Sharks. I thought 3-1 in the first. This game's going to fly over, and we didn't get another goal after that. So that was kind of frustrating. I think San Jose kind of just put it in cruise control mode. The Rangers didn't feel offensively like, at least San Jose didn't feel like the Rangers were a threat offensively, and they just kind of played, controlled game. And like I said, it was a very low event third period in particular. Although I will say Nedeljkovic was pretty solid, but we did have San Jose money line, so we did cash that 3-1. They get the job done over the New York Rangers last night. But I really thought that best bet was on the way to the win column, and 4 goals after the first period, none after that. But that doesn't change my stance. I still think the Rangers are going to be a team I'm still hesitant to take unders with until they get Igor Shesterkin back in the lineup. But give the Sharks credit. I think the one thing about San Jose we're seeing right now is they can shut it down when they want to. Look what they did against Florida on that road trip. They protected a lead. They played very well. They got good goaltending. They can shut the games down when they're put in that spot. So San Jose with a 3-1 win. And the New Jersey Devils, and I told you, bad teams off a win. Don't bet on them. Don't trust them. And I said that about Vancouver. And they lose 5-4 to the New Jersey Devils yesterday. A lot more goals in that game than maybe I expected. Jacob Markstrom, he gave up 4, but he gets the win. Lankinen got lit up for 5 goals in that game as well. And it ended up being a nice, solid win for the New Jersey Devils in that game, including a guy that was a second-round pick for them in 2023 out of Finland, Lenny Haminaho, getting the Haminaho is actually how you say it. And definitely he got on the board for the first goal for the New Jersey Devils in that game. And they were able to get a 5-4 win over the Vancouver Canucks. It's actually been a decent road trip here for New Jersey, and that's a nice couple of wins here in a row against Edmonton and Vancouver. We'll see now if they can keep it going. They have to keep building because the Devils have a lot of ground to make up right now, but they are gaining momentum. They are. But I will say this. I mean, the schedule has kind of been good to them. We'll have to see what they can do when they step up. And, yes, you don't have to tell me about JT Miller. And not going well for him right now, captaining the New York Rangers. All right, so there you go. Friday recap. Like I said, not bad that we got that all in barely 10 minutes. So let's get into Saturday's card. Again, we're going to have to go a little bit quicker here with the card here than normal. But let's start with Buffalo, New York Islanders. This game at 1 p.m. Eastern. We got even money, -110 both sides, 6.5 the total. In this game, there's actually still a couple 6s out there, but for the most part, a lot of books have moved this total to 6.5 here in this game. It looks like, as far as the goaltending is concerned, David Rittich will get the start here for the New York Islanders. I do expect Alex Lyon for Buffalo, although that is not yet confirmed, but the sites do seem to have him as probable to get the nod here for the Buffalo Sabres in net. Rittich was not nearly as sharp the last time we saw him. He faced his former team, Calgary. Calgary's not scoring either of late, and he gave up 4 goals to that listless offense, which hasn't been putting the puck in the net. And he gave up 4 goals in a 4-2 loss. Buffalo just keeps on finding ways to win, other than, a tough 2-1 loss to Carolina. It's been impressive. They bounced right back the very next night. They beat the Nashville Predators in that game earlier this week, 5-3. They beat Montreal 4-2. On Thursday night. It's just been, that we have not seen Buffalo fall off the radar like maybe we thought they would once they lost that first game after the initial, 10 or 11 game win streak. This is a bad spot for it's a terrible spot for the New York Islanders here today. It's absolutely awful. 7 games on the road. They haven't been home since January 6th. Okay, that is 2.5 weeks ago. That's the last time they were at home. Nashville, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle. That's a lot of miles. That is a lot of miles that they've traveled. And that's a very long road trip. 7 games over a span of 13 days or 14 days, and now you're back home for that first game. We already saw evidence of the Islanders looking pretty, flat, stuck in mud kind of effort the last time. They were in a very similar spot to this earlier this year. They had a 7-game road trip in November. They came back home for, I believe, an afternoon game on a Saturday, just like this. They lost 2-1 to St. Louis at home. And I remember that game because I had first goal, first period, St. Louis first period money line, and St. Louis full game money line. And I'm running it back right here. It's the exact same brutal spot for the New York Islanders as that one. Off a 7-game road trip, St. Louis, we swept the bets in that game when they were off the 7-game road trip back home in November. They lost 2-1, first period goal, first period money line, first full game money line on St. Louis. And I'm going to do that with Buffalo here. First goal, first period, plus 125, plus 130 is what you can find with that first period money line, full game money line. I think it's a brutal spot. Terrible for the New York Islanders. Buffalo going to be able to take advantage of that. These spots have been cashing more often than not throughout the course of the season. There is good news for the Islanders. They will have Bo Horvat back, but for the first game back, that's a negative. Telling you, every time the star player comes back the first game, it's actually a bad thing for the team. It screws up rhythm. It screws up chemistry. And I find the team just exhales when one of the top players comes back. And more often than not, I'm NHL, NBA, when you get one of your best players back from injury, you lose that first game. It's uncanny how often it happens. And so for today, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing here for the New York Islanders. So it's a terrible spot. Buffalo first goal, first period. Buffalo first period money line. Buffalo full game money line. You can get the money line prices, both of them. First period, full game around even money, minus 110. And like I said, we're looking at plus 125 to plus 130 with Buffalo first goal, first period here in this game as well. And we get Riddick, the weaker of the two goalies, too, compared to Sorokin. And Riddick, who's coming off a rough start, didn't play well against Calgary, in my opinion. So I think it's a good spot here for Buffalo. I know our good friend of the show, Terry Edelman, bet this, and I noticed this too. This price is outrageous for a guy that scored in back-to-back games as he has. Peyton Krebs, I think at plus 900, plus 950, you have to bet it, for crying out loud. I mean, he scored in back-to-back games, and in 3 of the last 4 games, you're going to put out a plus 900, plus 950 for him to score. That's something you got to bet. That's all there is to it. We're back on Duclair as well. Anthony Duclair for the New York Islanders. He scored in back-to-back games for them. Going into this matchup. So that's a prop that I'm interested in, going with Anthony Duclair again. Not bargain bin worthy today. This price finally dipped below the 300 in a lot of places, but still something you got to look at. You could look at maybe Heineman as well for the Islanders. I'm trying to think. There was someone else for Buffalo that I was interested in. We talked about Josh Doan, getting the contract. Watch out for him. Jack Quinn's been heating up a little bit lately. Don't sleep on Ostlund and Consta Hellenius, who were just brought up. Those are 2 guys that have been noticeable when they've been out there. So there's definitely a few good prop options here for this Sabres team for this early start matinee affair, which, again, gets underway in about 30 minutes. This game, next up, Utah-Nashville. This game got moved because of weather issues, weather concerns. Obviously, lots of the continent getting slammed at some point this weekend with snow, or freezing rain, or ice pellets, or a combination of the 3. And so for that reason, this game now 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. local time. We've got Utah minus 120, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. This is just a small over bet for me, over 6, just the full game. Didn't bet the first period over because neither of these teams are super strong first period over teams, but I'm riding it with Nashville. 5 straight Nashville games have gone over the total. 2 straight Utah games have gone over the total. 3 of the last 4 meetings between these teams have gone over the total. Both games in Utah since the Utah Mammoth migrated from the state of Arizona. Both of those games were 4-3, and both of them won by Nashville. So a little bit on the over 6 here for me, Utah, Nashville. Nashville scoring in bunches. Stamkos is red hot. Hat trick, of course, against Ottawa. He's playing great. They're getting contribute. Marchessault just came back. That certainly helps them out a little bit offensively as well. Forsberg's been good the last little bit. O'Reilly has been chipping in. He had a hat trick recently as well. So, like I said, Nashville's offense is feeling it right now. They're scoring. Defense and goaltending is still a concern. We've talked about this a lot now with UC Saros. He's buckling under the workload. There's a lot of games for him in a condensed period of time. He hasn't been sharp. He's usually been good to give up 3+ goals in the majority of his recent starts. I think we'll see Karel Vejmelka here in net for Utah. He hasn't been nearly as sharp. He gave up 3 goals to Seattle, 4 goals against the Philadelphia Flyers in his last start. So this is over 6 here for me. Minus 115 is the price on that. Sprinkle on the draw, too. Little draw sprinkle here in this game. 2 of the last 4 meetings have gone past regulation. Utah went to overtime against Philly. I think we have a chance maybe to see this one get past regulation. So draw and over for me here with Utah, Nashville. All right, we move to the night session of games for the Saturday night portion of the card. Tampa Bay and Columbus. We got Tampa Bay minus 120. Road favorites. Total in this one, 6.5 across the board in this game. We saw Columbus lose their first game under Rick Bowness against Ottawa, 4-1, and bounce back with a very impressive 1-0 shutout win against the Dallas Stars. Charlie Coyle's 1,000th career NHL game. We will see if they can follow that up with another solid performance here in this one against Tampa Bay. This is a tricky spot for the Lightning. You know, the Lightning played in Chicago last night. The game went to a shootout. Who knows with the weather going on right now, how, it's a short flight, Chicago to Columbus, but who knows, how smooth it was, how efficient it was as far as arrival on time and all that. So it is a little difficult spot. You're probably going to see Jonas Johansson in net here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, with this being a back-to-back. They're still missing Hedman, Lilleberg, and McDonough. We shouldn't even bother mentioning that anymore, because it doesn't seem to bother them. It doesn't seem to stop them from winning games. But nevertheless, they are still without 3 starting defensemen, which speaks to how terrific a job John Cooper's done with this team. Not to mention Braden Point's missed a bunch of games now. Not to mention Kucherov missed games earlier this season. And of course, other players were out for a bit of time as well. So, all the man games lost, and for Tampa Bay to be doing this, it's quite impressive. I've got this gut feel they lose tonight. I don't know if I'm betting it. I'm tempted with Columbus here in this spot. One thing I want to point out is Columbus has actually played well hosting Tampa. They've won 3 of the last 4 at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets, over the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't like going up against streaks and teams that are rolling like a Tampa Bay is, 9-1 in their last 10 games. 15 straight games without a regulation loss. But I just feel this could be the night. And I really like how Columbus, they're playing hard, Columbus. I've watched every Columbus game, most of every Columbus game since the coaching change. They're playing hard every night. And it's just a matter now of just playing well, getting good defensive play, getting saves. That's going to be the interesting thing now moving forward. But I just feel this is a bit of a tricky spot. Tampa's had some issues in this building in the past. They lost 3-2 here last year. They lost 7-6 in Columbus the year before that as well. Oh, sorry. You know what? The 3-2 loss to Columbus was earlier this season. That was back in October. But they've lost 2 in a row here, 3 of the last 4. I'm very tempted by Columbus, and we do know Jet Greaves is in net here for the Jackets, and he was terrific in that 1-0 shutout win against the Dallas Stars. No, this is not an over for me. No overs for me with Columbus right now. This is a team that is really tightening things up. Rick Bowness has got is right from day one. The focus was we got to improve our goals against average. We've got to improve our save percentage. We've got to improve how many slot chances we give up, how many rush chances we give up. We've got to just tidy up and improve our structure defensively. That has been the number one focus of Rick Bowness since taking over. And we have seen Columbus now since the coaching change. They've not been an automatic over anymore, especially with Greaves in net. 2 straight unders, 3 of the last 4 games have gone under for Columbus. So this is not an over for me. But I am going to look toward probably Columbus at some point. I just don't like this spot for Tampa. I don't. And they've had trouble with the Jackets. I like the way the Jackets team is defending now. Harder, much better, much harder since the coaching change. I could see this being a spot where Tampa slips up and loses here in this game. They're not going to win every game the rest of the season. And like I said, I think it's a nice, decent price, decent spot here for the Blue Jackets here in this one. As far as props go for this Lightning and Blue Jackets game, Zach Werenski, continues to chip in goals. Mason Marchment, I think, is still worth a look as long as he stays on the top line for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Definitely would be interested in some kind of goal props for him because he is on the top line. I would say there's 2 players on the second line for Tampa. We know Hagel, Cirelli, Kucherov, Gensel are the big ones, but Dominic James and Gage Gonzalez, they seem to be getting good looks and quality chances every night. And I think there's probably value with their props right now for the Lightning. All right, Detroit, Winnipeg. We've got Winnipeg minus 125, home favorites. 6 the total in this game. We'll see how it plays out. Winnipeg, that was very much a playoff type of atmosphere the other night when they played Florida. Low scoring. The goaltending was very good in that. Oh, yeah, Bjorkstrand against his former team, Nick. That's a good one. That's a good one for sure. And Kent John. It might be a good time to jump back on Kent Johnson, says Jonathan in the chat, saying he has good numbers against Johansson. So definitely, like I said, there's some good goal props in that game. This one, oh boy. I want to take Detroit because I think this price is kind of ludicrous here with the Winnipeg Jets favorite. Detroit's just the better team right now. And you got Detroit off a loss. That they're not going to be Now, it was a tough spot. It was back-to-back. They played a real intense game against the Leafs, a division game. They played Minnesota the next night, maybe ran out of gas a little bit, having a 3-2 lead in the third. Minnesota tied it and then won in overtime. But I'm definitely thinking of taking Detroit here. It is John Gibson. He's definitely the goalie we want in net right now for the Red Wings. It should be him in net for them. There is a big injury, though. Simon Edvinsson for the Red Wings. Boy, has he played great this year for them. Lower body injury, will not suit up tonight for the Detroit Red Wings. He's been great. He's been absolutely outstanding on the blue line. You could argue he's been even better than Mo Seider at times for this Red Wings team. That's how good he's been. He's got a little bite to him too. You see the going after Jake McCabe in the Toronto game for a hit he didn't like. So, like I said, that's a tough loss for Detroit on the back end. A Detroit back end that, we didn't love it coming into the season, but one of the reasons it's played better than we expected is because guys like Edvinsson have developed and gotten so much better. But now you don't have him, so it looks like a little shake-up now. It looks like Sherratt, Seider, Sandin Pellikka. I think Hamonic is the one that's going to draw into the lineup. Albert Johansson and Jacob Bernard Docker, JBD, going to be the blue line here tonight for the Detroit Red Wings. I'm probably going to take Detroit. I've got just a queasy feeling, though, about what, this price being what it is. But to me, the value is Detroit here. Detroit's better than Winnipeg right now. Winnipeg, I don't trust. Plus 105 with Detroit. I do like that. I'm not on the total here in this game. Gibson is not a goalie that's an automatic over at this point in time. He's playing great. Really, really good in net for the Red Wings. In fact, he's a big reason why they beat Toronto. Toronto had their chances earlier this week. He was terrific. 1 goal allowed. Gibson has not given up 4 goals in a game in the new year. Every start here since the beginning of January, it's been 3 goals or less, and most of them have been 2 goals or less. So this has been an extended run of real quality goaltending from John Gibson. So we'll see how it plays out here in this one for the Detroit Red Wings, but I'm still leaning in that direction here with them plus 105. Any props here as far that I like here as far as this game is concerned? Like I said, with Winnipeg, let me just see here. I follow with Scheifele and Connor. Like I said, just because he's up on the top line. Jonathan Taves, we've talked about how he's been obviously putting the puck in just a little bit more of late. Those are a couple for Winnipeg. For Detroit, we've been mentioning the same JVR is, just at this point, it's pretty amazing what he's doing for the Detroit Red Wings. But he's scored now 2 of the last 3 games, 3 of the last 7, or 3 of the last 6. So you're starting to see him heat up again. Remember, he had that crazy tear earlier in the season for sure. Ben Sherrod and Appleton, the former player angle, former Jets playing for Detroit. Jonathan Lyke and Sherrod 11-1, Appleton 9-1. As far as the former player angle is concerned, so maybe put a couple of bucks on that as well. But yeah, Detroit for me. I just if they lose, so be it. I mean, this price is just they're the better team right now. You're getting plus 105, and Winnipeg's just too bloody inconsistent for me to be able to trust them now, especially in the favorite role. And I wonder if that loss against Florida takes some sting out of them. Arneal and the players were talking about, we got to have this one. It's such an important game. And then you lose that game. And then you wonder if that's just that final kick in the pants that really has you thinking, boy, this is going to be a mountain to climb if we're going to try to get back into the playoffs. All right, Carolina, Ottawa. We've got Carolina minus 130, road favorites, 6 the total here, Hurricanes and Senators. This is a system here that we've talked about a few times. I believe it is in play here in this game with the Carolina Hurricanes. They are off a loss, and they are at home when the over-by-factors have been great in this spot. Carolina at home, off a home loss, has been pretty strong with the over-by-factor throughout the course of the season. It certainly was early on in the season. And like I said, I'm just looking at the last few times they've been at home off a home loss. Let me just take a look here. At home off a home loss. I'll just give you examples of the last few. So they lost to Florida at home 5-2. They turned around. They beat Detroit at home 5-2. There's an example of the actually, the first period stayed under in that game, but full game went over in that Detroit game after the home game off a home loss for Carolina. That's what we're looking at. They lost 7-5 to Montreal at home. 5-3 Colorado next game. Again, first period under, but full game went over the total. There's been some pretty sound examples that you could go back further, but certainly the full game over has been good. There's been a couple first period unders in this kind of situation. They're on the road. They're on the road. My bad. I apologize, guys. No, never mind. Scratch that. Scratch that. Carolina's on the road. I don't know. I got thinking they were at home for some reason. Yeah, this game's in Ottawa. My bad. So throw that out. I like the over by factor anyway because Ottawa's on this crazy run of 12 straight overs right now for the Ottawa Senators. I mean, you just got to ride it. Ride it at this point. Park and ride, like Daryl Sutter said. So, yeah, I apologize. This game's in Ottawa. I don't know why I screwed that up. It's right in front of me, and I've even got it on the screen on the display. The home team is always on the right side. But yes, this game is in Ottawa, so that angle I mentioned doesn't apply. But we're going to ride it. It's 12 straight Ottawa Senators games that have gone over the total in the first period. We're taking it. No questions asked. First period over here, which I like more than the full game over, actually. First period over, 1.5 minus 135. Actually, I see minus 122 at FanDuel still with the first period over. So you could really get a good price on that still at FanDuel. And yes, over 6 minus 120. But I like the first period over a little bit more in this game. I don't think I'm betting a side. I mean, I had my fill with Ottawa, trusting Ottawa, thinking, you know what, their peripheral numbers look good. But then the defense collapses, and James Reimer starts the game well, but can't make a save in the third. Although I really cut Reimer some slack, because they were horrendous at times in that third period, horrendous against Nashville, trying to defend and protect that lead in front of them. So no side for me here in this game. Just going to look toward the over by factor here, first period, full game in this one. Again, it's 12 straight Ottawa games that have gone over in the first period coming into this game here tonight. Prop-wise for this game, Ottawa, when you look at them, there's some value with Ridley Gregg, Dylan Cousins on the second line. I think he scored one of their goals the other night for the Ottawa Senators. Keep an eye on this guy that just got called up, too, for the Ottawa Senators. He scored his first career goal against Nashville the other night. Stephen Halliday I know he's only playing on the fourth line, but I thought he had a pretty good game for the Ottawa Senators. Could be someone you want to maybe consider for a down the board, even though he's down in the bottom six. Someone to consider still for maybe a goal prop here in this game tonight. I think he's been noticeable here for the last few games that we've seen him obviously on the ice for Ottawa. And then for Carolina, you look at props that I'd be interested in with them at the moment. Jackson Blake, Logan Stankoven, that line in particular, has certainly been strong for them. Obviously, Jarvis, Aho, Svechnikov, the top line, it's always a threat. But if you're looking for a little more bang for your buck, I would say that Stankoven and Blake, definitely players worth a look here as far as that is concerned as well with props for Carolina. All right, next up, we've got Original Six rivalry renewed tonight, Montreal and Boston down at TD Garden. We've got even money, -110 both sides here in this game. The total sitting at 6.5 across the board. Boston is a real home road split type of team. That has it was starting to look that way, earlier in the season. That this team's playing really good at home and they're not so great on the road. I mean, it's even more evident right now. Like they have been, hit or miss on the road, 11-13. But after that win against Vegas Thursday night, 4-3, they're now 18-8-1 at TD Garden this season. So this has definitely been a strong performing team on home ice, the Boston Bruins this year. That being said, one of the 8 losses they suffered, one of the 8 regulation home losses they suffered this season, was against this Montreal team right before Christmas, and Montreal beat them 6-2 here in Boston. I remember that game. I took them. Jacob Fowler started that game. Of course, he is down with the Laval AHL team. He was sent down recently, but he did start in that game, and I said, kid that played at Boston College, Chestnut Hill, nearby, going to Boston, play the Bruins, that he'd have a pretty good game, and he'd look to want to play well, and he did. In that victory for the Montreal Canadiens. But you will not see Jacob Fowler tonight. You will see Sam Montembeault, who, let's be honest, wasn't that great against Buffalo, and his form is starting to trend down. And we said this before the Montreal-Buffalo game. He was starting to play better, but you started to look at the fact that, 2 of those great starts were against the Florida Panthers. And he owns the Florida Panthers. He absolutely dominates the Florida Panthers. And so that was 2 of his great starts after he got recalled from the American Hockey League. And then basically after that, he's kind of gone back down and his numbers are declining once again. And the last couple starts haven't been that good for Samuel Montembeault. So we'll see how he fares here in this game. Jeremy Swayman in net for Boston. He got the hook the last time we saw him, but the whole team was so bad in front of him in that game. I don't think you could put it all on Swayman, but he got pulled in that Dallas game to end the road trip earlier this week. So this will be Swayman's first game since getting pulled in that Dallas game. Does he play better? One thing I'll say about Swayman, I don't like his form at the moment, not as much as we saw earlier in the season. You look at Jeremy Swayman. He allowed 6 goals, obviously, against Dallas. But right now, it's been a little bit of a struggle here for him of late. His numbers have declined a bit. He gave up the 6 to Dallas. He did have a shutout against Detroit. We'll give him credit for that. But he gave up 6 to Seattle. It's been weird. He's had a couple of real bad outings and nestled in between. He's had a couple good outings, actually, too. He's had a series of 2-goal efforts. So that's the only thing I'm hesitant on, because my first thought here was looking at, I certainly think first period overs a good look. Montreal starting to heat up again with first period overs. Boston, the same thing. We've seen a lot of early goals with these 2 teams. Maybe it slows down a bit. This could be one of those bifectas that slants a little bit more for me, just from a wager size standpoint, to the first period as opposed to the full game. That could be something to keep in mind here in this game. But the first period over, definitely, because I'm pretty sure with both of these teams, they've been strong with the first period over of late. I could see that. Yeah, it is. I mean, Montreal and Boston are both 4 consecutive game first period over streaks for both of them, Habs and Bruins, coming into this game here tonight. So, yes, first period over I like. Maybe a little smaller on the full game over, and could always get a live over if a 5.5 pops up. But yeah, this is definitely an over by Fecta, but one where I like the first period over a little bit more than I like the full game over. As far as props go for this Montreal-Boston game, give me Murat Husnudinov, Fraser Minton. I think both of them are worth a look. I like the way they're playing right now. They're threatening every night as far as offensive chances are concerned, and certainly with Murat, the value is still there. I still think with Montreal, Kirby Dach, there's value. Terry Edelman in our chat. Good to see you, Terry. I see he noticed is Cole Caulfield. I mean, you're obviously look. When I mention a lot of these goal props, I look for value. I look for bigger plus prices. But obviously, look, you could do much worse than betting Cole Caulfield to score a goal right now. Like, he is on a heater. He scored in 4 straight games for the Montreal Canadiens, including a multi-goal game in there. The only problem is you're not getting the bang for your buck that that you would with some other players. Like, what is it for Caulfield? Plus 150 looks like for him to find the back of the net. So yeah, but obviously, look, it probably does score. I mean, he's been on fire of late. Plus 150. But you know me, I always look for those bargain bin prices, a little bit more value when it comes to player props and goal props. Yeah, Husnudinov has scored in both games against Montreal, says Jonathan. Great note there. Makes me like the Husnudinov look even more. Suzuki with a point in 10 of the last 11 games versus Boston. So that's another thing to look at. Do I have to talk about this next game? God almighty. L.A. and St. Louis. We've got L.A. minus 130 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. This game stinks, man. I don't even know if I'll be watching it. 2 shitty teams, 2 teams that bore the fucking piss out of me. But nevertheless, I will not lay a price with LA anywhere. Road, home. They could put a Kings game in my backyard. Not only would I not lay a price with the Kings, I'd draw the blinds. And that's where we're at here with this one. Yeah, as far as actually, hold the phone a little bit. There is going to be something I bet here in this game. I forgot about it because I just remembered it now when I was doing my looking into this game, my handicapping of this game. We have to bet the draw here. We simply have to. Are either of these teams good enough to separate from the other? I don't think either one is. And we have some strong draw flags and draw indicators with this game. 3 straight meetings have gone past regulation between these 2 teams, the Kings and the Blues. 4 of the last 6 have gone past regulation. 3 of the last 4 Kings games overall have gone past regulation, including 4 of the last 6, 5 of the last 8, and 6 of the last 10. So tons of recent draw history for the LA Kings. Factor that in with 3 straight meetings going past regulation. So yeah, we have to take the draw here. Yeah, there's just too many indicators screaming draw in this game not to take it. And plus this game sounds like 2-2 written all over it. Going into overtime. Maybe you do that too. 2-2 regulation correct score. If it's offered to you. But the problem is the price isn't great, like plus 310, plus 320 at most is what we're looking at here with this draw. But yeah, no doubt this has draw written all over it here. This is probably actually the best draw on the board today, or the most likely draw of the on the Saturday card here. But yeah, that's worth a bet. There's just a lot of indicators that point to this having a strong potential for going past regulation. All right, let's go to it's Hockey Day in Minnesota. I know Alex always mentions this when we talk about this annual game on a Saturday in January in Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Wild. They always host a Hockey Day and Saturday weekend. Didn't the Iowa Wild play an outdoor game last night, the AHL affiliate? I think I saw that somewhere. But yeah, it's this big annual event, Hockey Day in Minnesota. And this is it for this year. Florida and Minnesota. Minnesota minus 125, home favorites. 6 the total here in this game. Yes, and Alex always mentions every year on this show when he's on the Saturdays in years past when Minnesota and the Wild have hosted this Hockey Day in Canada, Hockey Day in Minnesota, a home game that they have won and dominated on Hockey Day in Minnesota. The Wild are something like 14-5 in 19 home games here on Hockey Day in Minnesota, but they have lost back-to-back on Hockey Day in Minnesota. So, yeah, long term, the record is great. The numbers are great, 14-5, but 2 straight losses here on Hockey Day in Minnesota. This is a tricky side for me. The one thing I will not do here is bet against Florida. I said this is a make-or-break road trip. This is a statement road trip for this prideful, filled with character Florida Panthers team to try to salvage their season, to try to stay in the wild card race. They can put a check mark beside the first test of this road trip against Winnipeg. Not pretty, but they found a way. Tarasov was solid in net, and it was a 2-1 win for the Florida Panthers against Winnipeg. I cashed a ticket with Florida in that game. I know Alex did as well. There he is in the chat. So I won't bet against Florida here. Just won't. I lean Florida, but Minnesota at home. Minnesota's been good long term. This is a special day in the state, as it always is. Hockey Day in Canada. And I keep saying Canada. Geez, hockey Day in Minnesota. They've been very good long term. 14 of 19. They have lost 2 in a row. So let's not kid ourselves. Florida can go in there and win. I'm not betting a side here, but I would tell you this. It's Florida or pass for me. Not stepping in front of the Panthers. I think this is a very important road trip for them. I trust their character. I trust their mental makeup. They know that this is a pivotal road trip in their season, trying to get back into the wild card race. Not to mention, they have played Minnesota pretty well. They have won 6 of the last 9 meetings versus Minnesota, and they won here last year in Minnesota. They beat the Minnesota Wild 6-1 at what was then XL Energy Center, now Grand Casino Arena. But you know what I like. I'm not touching a side here, but you guys know what I am touching here in this game. You better believe it. Best damn total streak involving one team in the NHL right now. It's only 13-1 in the last 14 games. Minnesota over. It's only 16-4 to the over in 20 games for Minnesota since Quinn Hughes was acquired from the Vancouver Canucks. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Give me over 6. Actually, I got in at a 5.5 early in the day. There was an over 5.5 at -140. I laid the juice to get the 5.5 early in the day. Those 5.5s are long gone. It's 6 at most spots. There's even some 6.5 showing up, but still fine. At the current number, 6, 6.5. We just got to keep going with this. This is incredible stuff with Minnesota. Really is. I mean, this is once every long while that we get this kind of an over streak for one particular hockey team. But this has been incredible here for Minnesota. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13-1 in the last 14 games to the over here for the Minnesota Wild. And not to mention the series history. It's a series history over with the Wild and the Panthers as well. 7-2-1 to the over in the last 10 meetings between the Florida Panthers and Minnesota Wild. So, yeah, Florida, Minnesota over. 6 is good. 6.5 is good, too. I think we get 7 here in this game. And I also think the Panthers know after the Winnipeg game, a bit of a cagey game, low scoring. Minnesota will get them going a little bit more up and down here in this game. And that's Minnesota's been their pace has gone way up since Quinn Hughes got there. They're playing way more of a rush style, transition style type of game. That has been very evident since they got Quinn Hughes from the Minnesota Wild. So, over 6 now is the best. And over first period, it's a bifecta for me, too, because Minnesota is now on a 5-game over streak in the first period as well going into this game. So, over bifecta, but this one, I have more on the full game than I do the first period. As far as props go for this Florida and Minnesota game, let me just double check a few things. Anton Lundell here for the Florida Panthers. Like I said, we've been going back to the well with him a handful of times. For Minnesota, obviously they're still at the moment. Matt Boldy's still on IR, but they are starting to get healthier. Brodin is still on IR, but Ryan Hart, Johansson, there we go. It's Marcus Johansson that just recently came back from injury. He's with Eriksson Ek as well, back from injury for the Minnesota Wild. So that is great to see. Eriksson Ek was activated, returned against Detroit on Thursday night. They got Eriksson Ek back for that Red Wings game Thursday night. Johansson, same thing. He returned against Detroit on Thursday night as well. So, like I said, getting healthier finally. But still, Ryan Hartman is with Zuccarello and Kaprizov, which means I love the value with Ryan Hartman centering that top line. Still going to go back to the well one more time with Tarasenko, who's been obviously a big-time offensive catalyst for this team for the last week or so. amid all the injuries. So there you go. And former Panther star. Yeah, because he did so much for the Florida Panthers when he was there. But no, it is the former player angle, and we know what he's done as far as offensive production the last week or so. So I don't mind it one bit, Tarasenko here, as far as a goal prop in this Panthers and Wild game. Looks like for goaltending, I would expect it to be, by the way, it should be Kemper Hofer for Kings Blues. I forgot to mention that. It should be Bobrovsky Gustafsson, or at least that's the projection right now, that Bobrovsky and Gustafsson will be the goalies. And Gustafsson is confirmed. So it will once again be Philip Gustafsson for the Minnesota Wild, who hasn't been sharp lately. Neither goalie's been sharp. Volstead, hasn't been what he was during that torrid stretch he had earlier in the season, which is also why this team has been flying over the total as much as they have. All right, last game of this Saturday slate, Washington Capitals, Edmonton Oilers. We've got Edmonton minus 170, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Washington gets off the schneid, snaps their 4-game losing streak, beating the Calgary Flames last night by a score of 3-1. Now they're on a back-to-back and looking to make it 2 in a row in the province of Alberta as they take on the Edmonton Oilers. This is supposed to be an Edmonton response spot here in this game. Edmonton was just listless, awful. Even Connor McDavid was bad in that game. Like, he's turning the puck over multiple times in that loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he even owned it after the game, which I respect, that I could be a lot better, he said. So when you hear Connor McDavid uttering those words after the loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, you'd expect a response from him and his team here in this one. But that's back-to-back home losses against New Jersey and Pittsburgh. And this homestand continues for Edmonton. They got 3. There's a long homestand. They got 3 more at home after this: Anaheim, San Jose, and Minnesota. But they'll be certainly looking to bounce back here against the Capitals. The Capitals have actually beaten Edmonton 5 of the last 7 meetings, and they have won here 2 of the last 3 times in Edmonton. So this won't be an easy game for Edmonton, but it is a spot advantage for them. Back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 nights as well on the road for Edmonton. Edmonton was just so bad against New Jersey and Pittsburgh. I know they miss Leon Draisaitl, and they have missed him. He is back tonight. Leon is back in the lineup here for the actually, he was back against Pittsburgh. My bad. Yeah, he was back for that game. So we weren't sure if he was going to be back for Pittsburgh, but yeah, he played in that game. But again, coming off a personal matter, first game back, probably distracted with that. Needs a game to get the rhythm back. Now his 2nd game back, you would expect him to be, a little bit better here for the Oilers. We mentioned the system last time. This is a system I found. We've used this system with the teams off a 1-goal effort, right? The 1-goal loss where they score 1 goal or less. We've talked about it with Vegas. We've talked about it with Philadelphia. We've talked about it with a bunch of teams coming off a loss. No, never mind. They scored 2 in that. That's right. They did score 1 in the 3rd period. But if it had been 1 goal or fewer, then all the strong trends were pointing to over. We'll see. Washington with Lindgren in net, and maybe Edmonton looking to clamp down defensively too. I think they're going to go back to Connor Ingram is going to be in net here for the Edmonton Oilers. You can't pin that on Jarry, all of it. Could he have been better against Pittsburgh? Oh, yeah, he could have. But a lot of those goals, I don't know if he could have done anything about them when you look at it. There were just so many breakdowns there in that game. So it will be Connor Ingram. One thing I will say about Connor Ingram here for Edmonton, this guy's been pretty steady the last few times we've seen him. 3-1-1 in his last 5 starts, and he's allowed just 7 goals in those last 5 starts. And his save percentage is .947. He shut out St. Louis 5-0 in his last start. He gave up just 1 goal in that game where the Oilers got blanked 1-0 by Sorokin, but Ingram was in net, and he only gave up 1 goal. He only gave up 1 goal to Chicago. This guy's on a run of giving up 2 goals in his last 3 starts combined. And in his last 5 starts combined, he's only allowed 7 goals. So he's actually been very, very solid for Edmonton of late. So if they play better and play a little bit more connected after giving up 6, with Ingram playing better lately, I don't trust Lindgren. He hasn't been nearly as sharp of late. Whenever I've seen him get the net for the, and by the way, Chychrun day-to-day for the Capitals. I did want to mention that, but Lindgren's been a little bit more unsteady of late. We did see him give up just the 1 goal when they beat Philadelphia 5-1. on January 12th. But he's also had some struggles as well in some of his recent outings for the. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get that. That's the wrong thing I clicked. Let's get Lindgren's numbers. Here we go. Yeah, Lindgren gave up 5 to Colorado, 3 to Nashville, 4 to Anaheim, 3 to the Rangers. He hasn't been necessarily sharp here in some of his recent starts. So, I certainly lean first period full game over. I could see maybe Edmonton clamping down a little bit, so I feel I may pivot. What I do like most is what I will tell you right now is Edmonton team total over 3.5. I will take that. I think this could be one of those nights where 4-1, 4-1 Edmonton could be one of those deals. The one thing about the Capitals is they're not exactly lighting the lamp right now. I know they beat Calgary 3-1, but the third goal, in that game against the Flames last night was an empty netter from Ovechkin. They really only scored 2 natural goals in that game, which means they have scored 2 goals or less, 2 natural goals, if you will, or less in 4 of their last 5 games. So they're not lighting it up offensively. I just get that sense that this could be one of these deals where Edmonton gets to 4, but I don't know if the Capitals score a ton tonight. I mean, it's supposed to be a spot here for the Oilers to really put their foot down, especially after the way that Pittsburgh game went. So I'm kind of lukewarm on the overs as far as the first period and full game, but I think the Edmonton team total here in this game over 3.5 is worth a look. Draisaitl should feel more comfortable here as well. Second game back from his personal matter absence. All right, as far as props for this game for Edmonton, let me just take a look here. Podkolzin, Roslovic back with Draisaitl, so there's probably some value. How about Matt Savoy? Matt Savoy, now he's on the third line for the Edmonton Oilers, but he scored in back-to-back games. This is a good player. I like that. This is the player that I was most excited about the Oilers getting when they traded Ryan McLeod to the Buffalo Sabres. That they were getting, obviously, Matt Savoy in return. Matt Savoy, a pretty well-thought-of prospect, and now he has scored in back-to-back games here for Edmonton. So I think Matt Savoy is definitely worth a look here as far as a goal prop tonight for Edmonton. For Washington, I would say, Ethan Frank has value playing on the top line. We've talked about Sordiff as well, stepping up a little bit. So those are a couple if you're going to look on the Washington side. But yeah, Savoy for sure. Back-to-back games with a goal for him. I definitely like the potential maybe for him to light the lamp once again. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Look at that, the whole card in less than an hour. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Get to wizardsportspicks.com. It's a big weekend. College basketball, NBA, NHL, of course. Get to the website. NFL Conference Championship Sunday as well. Get on board with daily premium picks. Get on board with a long-term subscription as well. 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, 1 year, all sports, all access passes available. Check out the Beyond the Lines daily video series on the website as well. Make sure you check it out. All the great handicappers. I'm number 1 in the NFL and NHL this season at wizardsportspicks.com. So check it out at the website. And check out patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So again, make sure you get to the Patreon page. The betting card has been phenomenal. The results with that. We have 2 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up this week, this last week of January, and we have 2 live betcasts exclusive to Patreon members only coming up. So we are excited about that. Make sure you get on board very soon before those 2 betcasts. So again, $10 per month. Get on board. Again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So check it out. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. And check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. I believe we have just a couple of days left now for the 20% off all orders on the website. So again, make sure you get to the website and get to the Ice Guys store and check it out. Get your gear and your merch over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Good stuff, Alex. Yeah, obviously I'll post the card for you as always. And a couple of UFC bets there for Alex in the chat. I'm looking forward to that UFC tonight. They made a pretty decent card, at least on paper. You never know how the fights are going to go, but like I said, a pretty decent first numbered card of the year for UFC with the new TV rights deal with CBS and Paramount Plus. So, like I said, should be interesting to see how that UFC event plays out. Great, good stuff. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Royal Cannabis, where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with promo code Ice Guys. Yeah, just on the side about that main event, Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. Nothing but split opinions from everyone I've talked to. And UFC, I don't handicap. I just, rely on other people. I watch it, but I rely on other people way more with that sport for making my own bets. And it's a split opinion. There's people that have made strong cases for Gaethje, saying strength of schedule. He's faced tougher fighters lately. Paddy Pimblett's he's looked awesome, Paddy Pimblett, but he's feasted on the weak, in comparison to the recent opponents that Gaethje's faced. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that are saying Pimblett looks awesome. Maybe he's faced a little lighter slate of competition, but he's ready. It's his time, and maybe Gaethje is starting to, father time factor catching up. Some people seem to think for Gaethje. So like I said, it's good. It's a very fascinating fight there. And like I said, definitely split opinion. No question about that. Looking forward to it. All right, back to hockey. And we want to remind you that it's time for our bargain bin special of the night for this Saturday in NHL action. For my bargain bin special, of course, now the prop board conks out on me. Because usually, I'm always looking to see at this point in the show what the prices are, who I like the most. I'll give you two, okay? It was going to be these two. I just wanted to see an update on the price before making it official, but I'm going to go with two, and the first is going to be Husnudinov for Boston. Murat Husnudinov plus 500, and we see that he's had success against Montembeault in the past. So Murat Husnudinov still on the top line for Boston. We'll go with him at plus 500 for my first bargain bin special of the night. And my second bargain bin special of the night, the last game we talked about, Washington-Edmonton, we're going to see if he can make it 3 in a row with a goal. Matt Savoy for the Edmonton Oilers, plus 475. So there you go. Two bargain bin specials. Murat Husnudinov for Boston, plus 500. Matt Savoy for Edmonton, plus 475. Bargain bin specials for this Saturday. All right, best bet. You know what we're doing for best bet. Best damn total streak going. Give me those Minnesota Wild and the Florida Panthers. Florida, Minnesota, over 6, minus 115 is the best price out there. This has everything pointing to over. 13-1 the last 14 Minnesota games, 16-4 the last 20 Minnesota games to the over since Quinn Hughes' arrival, and 7-2-1 to the over in the last 10 meetings between the Florida Panthers and Minnesota Wild. So Florida, Minnesota, over 6, minus 115 for my Saturday best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Alex sent me the card. So if you want best bet and bargain bin special for him, get to Patreon. It will be there on the Patreon page in just a little bit, patreon.com/Ice Guys. But again, thank you to all of you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games, and good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow on Sunday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.